So one second.
Hello, everybody. This is Theresa Micheal speaking on behalf of Youth for Human Rights International. Today, we celebrate the 20 years of spreading human rights from one nation to the other. In this spirit, we have encouraged almost 190 nations across the world to know what human rights is all about. In this pursuit, we also came across a man called Mr. V. Sridhar, who has been on a mission to transform 10,000 NGOs to become self sustainable, from redundance to abundance. What are the key factors that require an NGO to raise funds? Let's begin with his journey. So here we have with us on board Mr. Sridhar, who is going to speak to us on his journey from beginning the most humble NGO called No Hungry Child to help us achieve 10,000 NGOs from India to all the world. Over to you, Sridhar, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for your warm introduction. It was fabulous. And but I want to tell you, how did I get into this NGO? It's a very touching story that I have. I'm basically a corporate man. My first 20 years have been in the corporate world. I have worked for multinational companies. I've been from sales representative, moved up to the ladder of becoming general manager of a large IT firm, which was doing more than about 1,000 crores turnover. For that company, I was a GM. So it so happened one day that one common friend brought one NGO to me and introduced him to me. And this person said that you seem to be traveling quite often to different locations. I have a small work in Delhi. Will you be able to do this for me? He asked me that. So I asked him, what is that? He said, you see, I have submitted a proposal to one ministry. So if you can just do a little bit of follow up, it will be great, he said. So I said, since he came through a common friend of mine, and I was also going to Delhi on the day when he was coming. So I said, okay, yes, give me a copy of your proposal. Let me see what best can be done. So he gave me the proposal, and I went to my normal tour, and then I realized that I should spend at least about 2 hours for this, going, coming, talking to that person, and I allocated this 2 hours for that, and I went and met this secretary of that ministry. Okay. It so happened that I had a good backing. I went with the introduction of Kanchi Sankaracharya from Kanchi Mutt. So therefore, my entry was easily accessible, and when I was allowed inside, and I was treated very well. And then the secretary asked me what is that he can do for me. So I'm a corporate man, so I use the same phrase what I used in, used to use in corporate language. I said that, you see, one of my known NGO friend has submitted a proposal to your department, but your guy seems to be sleeping over it. I told him. Right. So he laughed at it and he said, don't worry, I'll try and see what can be done, whether it can be woken up or not. So let me see. And he called his secretary to bring that file, whatever I was suggesting. Then he scanned through that and he said, this proposal seems to be a good one. So please be rest assured, I'll do justice to this proposal. And he sent me back. This is what I narrated to this NGO friend of mine. And I then forgot about it. A month later, this NGO called me to say that, thank you very much. Today I received a sanction letter from this department. We have received 35 lakhs donation, grant. So I was surprised. I said, very good, damn good. And he gave me a lot of credit, a lot of praises, a lot of compliments and all that. But I felt that I don't deserve all that because I just did a follow-up, little follow-up, but the whole work has been done by him. Then that there ended the first, interaction like that. And then 6 months later, he called me again and said that, please come with me. Let us go to that village where we have done this job for the project. So I asked him, no, why, why me and all that? You go if you want and all that. He said, no, 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 you got me the funds of 35 lakhs. You need to know how this money has been spent wisely. So since he insisted too much, I said, okay, fine, I'll go. Then when I went there, I could see about nearly 1,000 people standing one behind the other, as if a free ration was being distributed, or a free sari was being distributed, something like that. It gave me such kind of a imagination. But the story is different there. So the villagers, when they welcomed me, and the NGO friend of mine, and in the convention hall that they had, hired, it was a small community hall where even AC was not there. They had a long pedestal fan arranged for us on rent, and two Maharaja chairs were kept there, one for me and one for him. And we were garlanded, we were put shawl and all that. And then after all that pleasantries were exchanged, then the village leader gave direction to the crowd which was standing one behind the other, saying that go ahead. So then I could see 5-year-old kid coming and touching my feet and my NGO friend's feet and moving forward. So we blessed. We said, okay, fine, great respect being given to us and all that. So we were happy, and we blessed the child and sent him. So a couple of other more children came, did that, and after some time, an elderly gentleman also came. He was by age-wise also was elder to us. He was also looking sick, but yet he was just walking, limping, and then coming towards us to do the same act what the children did. So that is when we realized that these people have planned something different. Then we stopped that activity. We said, no, 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 we are not, going to permit this to happen, because these are all people, who are elder to us. We should take their blessings. It's not that they should come and ask our blessings and all that. And we stopped that activity. But the message that the village was conveying to us was that, look, we haven't seen God. You seem to be the messenger of the God, because you have provided funds to our, village, where our economic independence increased from 1,000 rupees what they were earning to 1,500 rupees, during that last 4-5 months that they were trained and they started earning that amount. So what they were actually taught was, the females were actually doing embroidery work manually. They were using the fingers, hands, and invariably, they used to get hurt because the needle used to prick the fingers and all that. And the idea of the project was to provide them technology, the embroidery machine, and teach them the skill of using the embroidery machine. That was taught to them by the NGO. And the second one was for the males. They were all carpenters there, more or less, and they were using hammer and a nail. And again, the same problem. They were getting hit on the hand and all that, and the fingers were getting hurt. So for them, the drilling machine was to be provided and teach them how to drill. This is the job which NGO did, for which their productivity increased. They got a lot more orders than what they were getting earlier. So their economic independence improved from 1,000 rupees to 1,500 rupees. So I was wondering, that for this small act of mine, how come these people are showing so much of respect? Okay, because I was not used to this kind of treatment from anybody. Being in the corporate world, I had taken the company from 1 crore to 45 crores in about 18 months' time. And Y2K recession came in, and 9 months the company was not able to pay me salary. And beyond that, when I decided that I would like to quit, the chairman of the company very gladly accepted my resignation and said, Sridhar, thank you very much. We were wondering how to tell you, because you are a highly paid man, and we were really feeling, thinking about telling you that we are unable to pay you salary and all that. But good that you came and submitted your resignation. Yeah, so you are most welcome to leave us. So, they was absolutely merciless, in spite of me taking the company from 1 crore to 45 crores in just about 9 months' time. In about 18 months' time. Okay, despite this action of mine, they were ruthless in sending me off. Okay. Whereas on the contrary, I did nothing for these villagers. I just did a small follow-up work in Delhi. which resulted in that that proposal getting approved. And because of that, these villages, they thought that I have done a great job. Okay, so that is the respect that they gave me, and that was the turning point of my life. So I said, if they can give this kind of respect to me, I think I should be in this sector. And that's when this NGO friend also, who found out that since I'm now almost without a job, and I had no source of income, so he said that, I have 5 more NGOs with me who are interested in hiring your services. Okay, would you be able to help them get some funds? So
Wow.
that's where my journey of fundraising for NGOs started. Okay, this is how it started.
So you make fundraising sound so easy, but what is it that drives an NGO to begin fundraising? Because every NGO finds it the most difficult. So, how can we help those NGOs to make from making no money, from making the kind of losses? You've shown NGOs the way to make gain, from loss to gain. So, tell us some bit about how you thrive in the success into the pipelines of the NGOs.
Right. See, the misconception of the NGOs is that, they always depend on grants coming from institutions and from government. Okay. They think that only money can come from there. Okay. Which was true even initially when I thought that the proposal was getting approved by government. I also thought the same way. But it took me 4 years to realize that that's not the only place where you can actually get funds from. What happened was that between 2000 to 2004, I could use the name of Kanchi Sankaracharya and get away with it, because he was most respected person, and wherever I used to go, I was welcomed. But in 2004, something happened, some image tarnishing happened, and then after that, I could not use his name also. Then what happened was, tsunami hit Tamil Nadu. Okay, and 500 crores was raised in just about 2 days in the Chief Minister's Relief Fund. Who gave this? The general public gave this. Okay, so that's where I realized the power lies with the general public, not with the government or not with the institutions. If they find that the cause is genuine, right, and there is a good work being done, and they deserve our help, then public is there to give you funds. Okay, so that is where I realized that fundraising can be made through public. But the challenge was that how do you reach? Not everyone can donate. Not everyone has got the capacity to donate. Okay, so how do you reach out to them? So you don't know. You have to just throw the net and see that, draw and see, who actually are able to identify our cause and then start donating. So you need to try with everyone. So trying with everyone, door to door is not the solution. Posting is not the solution, which many NGOs were doing. Companies, NGOs like, big names like HelpAge India and all that. What they were doing was they used to send an appeal letter to individuals by post, and the postman used to carry the checks back to the NGO. The transition, the time taken for receiving funds from the public, from the time you post to receiving it, it could be a small amount of 500 rupees or 1000 rupees or whatever it is. It takes about nearly about 7 days to 10 days time. But they were doing this as an activity every day. Okay, but I found that that will be an expensive proposition for any NGO to raise funds, and also the patience people should have. So I decided that, at that time, the best way to reach out to these people was, since I'm a corporate man, I thought about fundraising can be made through telephone. Over telephone calling, it can happen. But those days, what used to happen was nobody was making a call to public. Whatever calls that were coming, it was either for credit card selling, or it was for loans, loan products, or it was for car selling, or it was for insurance selling. But for donation, nobody used to make a call. Okay,
Mm.
this was the situation. But I went and approached one call center, and said that, why don't you take this and do this as a new process? He said, no, we don't want to experiment with anything new where we are not sure of the results. So therefore, we can't take this project. So they refused and they rejected my request. But then I didn't give up. So what I did, from an NGO, I identified five physically challenged and visually challenged people, who were good at communication. They can speak well and all that. So I made them call. I gave them 5 landline telephones, and then gave them telephone directory of Bangalore, and said that Abdullah to Zakaria, don't leave anybody, just make calls to every one of them. Okay, the numbers were there in the telephone directory. It was a fat telephone directory like this. So many numbers were there. So make calls to all these people and see what happens. And to my surprise, the conversion was very high, despite the problem. The problem was it was a landline, right? Landline was being going to not a mobile number. It was going to a landline of a house, okay, or an office. It was going like that. The calls were going to those places where majority of the people who were receiving calls in the houses were either the housemaid or the housewife, who are not the decision makers of giving donation. In spite of that, they used to say that, okay, do one thing, you call us tomorrow, right? I will let you know. So as a follow-up call, we used to make next day the call, and we were getting positive response. Say that, okay, you can come and collect our check. We have already discussed with our husband. So he is ready to donate. The check is ready with us. Please come. So that is how the collection started from them. Then with this result for about 30 days, which I got, I went with the facts and figures, with the receipts and the money collected and all that, to the same call center who rejected me first. So I showed them the proof that, look, I have tried, and from the landline, this is the kind of response I got. Imagine if you make calls to mobile numbers. So what can happen? Then they agreed. They said that, okay, we'll experiment. And they put around 25 people. And in the first month, they were able to collect 15 lakhs. So that gave the boost to the fundraising process. Okay, the first month itself was a super success for us. So then thereafter, other call centers started approaching me, saying that, why don't you help us? Why don't you give us the same process, what you're doing currently? So I had the opportunity of selecting the call center to whom I can give order. So I, in fact, floated tenders. And I said that you need to deposit 1 lakh of EMD to get your quotation approved. So we used to get, tons of, I would say, letters, requests, mails, phone calls from different call centers asking for this process to be given to them. And I had the privilege of rejecting call centers saying that, no, I won't give it to you because your prices are high, or you don't have that, the previous experience of showing some success, not from the NGO sector, but from any other sector also. They were not able to show. So newcomers and all used to come. So we used to reject the newcomers, and we gave it to the experienced people who did a very good job later on. Then after some time, what happened was 4-5 years later, like how the loan products and the insurance products became, even this charity products also became like that. One individual used to get calls from 10 different NGOs asking for donation. And this individual used to get fed up. He said, come on, this is too much. And rejections were happening. In the initial stages, if we were making 100 calls, we were getting conversion from 15 people. So 15% was the kind of conversion initially we had. But later on, we used to make 300 calls to get one conversion. So where was 100 and 15% conversion to where now 300 calls you make and you may get one person saying yes to you. That's all. So this is the kind of change that took place from the telephone fundraising model. I in fact helped organizations like Akshay Patra Foundation and all that, to set up their call center. I helped them initially in generating funds for the organization through a dedicated call center, helping the Akshay Patra Foundation raise money. Okay, it all happened in the initial stages, and after that, my consulting role was over. And after that, now today, even today, they are depending. They have a dedicated call center, which was initially initiated by me, and now that is successfully running, despite the period now ending close to around 15, 16 years or something like that. It was way back at that point of time I had really set up for them. And even today they are following this. And like this, there were many NGOs who were in deep trouble, prior to this fundraising model was introduced to them. And now they are all, are in a better shape. Like there was, I remember one trust in Bangalore, especially they were taking care of, physically challenged and visually challenged people. And that NGO was almost in the verge of shutting down their NGO because they could not pay the rent of the premises, they could not manage their operational expenses and all that. But when this was introduced and the fund flow increased, now today they have a couple of vans for themselves. They have their own entire building, having for themselves in a 70,000 square feet area, which is constructed. And now they are having a full-fledged own building. It all happened because of this kind of model, which helped them more than, they got more funds from the public than from government. Okay, so that's the power that happened. But when I realized that this is also not working, then I had to come with something new. And then I realized the power of social media. So now, if you look at, I have introduced the social media. Okay, in this social media, what I did was when I started seeing, first I wanted to test it myself. So I wanted to see whether people are responding to the social media postings, social media activities that I'm posting there, all that. And I could see good response coming from here also. And then I started promoting this concept to other NGOs. I used to conduct 3-day workshop for NGOs. In that, there was another NGO from Calcutta who came. The name of the NGO, I can proudly say that it is Notun Jibon. This NGO, was also in trouble when they approached me. And, their last 3 years balance sheet was just about 9 lakhs. Okay. But after they realized the power of social media, they learned the techniques that I was teaching them. They could now, in about 11 months' time, they have crossed raising more than 1 crore funds. And it's all thanks to this kind-hearted souls in the social media platform who are willing to donate so long as they see a genuine work happening in the market.
So
Especially
you also
if they,
conduct
if they yeah,
master classes for NGOs.
right.
So can you tell us more about that?
So what I do is now every Thursday at 4 p.m., I organize one webinar for new NGOs. NGOs, it's a free webinar. People can come attend my webinar. In that webinar, I talk to them about the power of social media, which many people know there is social media, but they have not really used it well for their activities. So I communicate to them in that webinar that how powerful is this media. I show them social proof of what kind of funds have been collected so far, how you can also do it, provided you have a genuine program, a good program. And that program, if it is showcased in social media, people are there to come forward, see that, and then donate for you. And that's how, many NGOs now are in a position to raise good amount of funds, and they are slowly becoming self-sustainable.
So actually, the story also is linked to your own NGO called No Hungry Child. And I do remember you speaking about a little child sitting by the dustbin. And that is exactly what exploded the whole 10,000 NGOs to come together in this small package. So, Sridhar sir, tell us more about your own NGO called No Hungry Child.
Right. So what happened was we were traveling once, and then we saw a 3 or 4 year old child having its food from a dustbin, and there were 3 dogs surrounded by the child. The child was actually not afraid of the dogs. The child was afraid where these dogs will snatch away the food which she has been able to get it from the dustbin out of great difficulty. Okay, so it was covering the food and having its food. So that was a very pitiable, scene. And we immediately got down. We stopped the car and we got down. We went to the child. We got her idlis and all that from the neighboring hotel immediately, and then asked the child that where are you living? So she said like this, she showed her hand like this and then she said, that's where I live. So I said, can you take us there? And she took us there. That was the place, that is the current place where Bayapanalli metro station has been constructed now. But way back about, I would say 9, 10 years, 11 years back, it was a slum. You know, that area was a slum where 700 families were living there. And that is now converted as metro railway station. Okay. So in that place, when I saw 700 families there, I could see the slum. You know, her particular house was made of mud. It was made of mud, and inside there was nothing actually. There was no gas, or there was no stove or something like that. They were all making out of the mud stove only. It was there. It was called chula, right? You put the firewood and then burn it and then do it. So when we checked up with the neighbors as to why this child had to come out and have food like this, why not food here? So they said, in this place it happens like that only because the parents go out in the morning to fetch their daily wage, and the children are neglected. Children are told to take care of themselves. So what the children do initially is they try to steal the bread first from a bakery, and they will invariably unsuccessful because the attempt. Many attempts they would have made, and that's why the bakery man drives away the children who are coming there like that. And then ultimately the hunger drives them to the dustbin. The hunger is the one which drives them to two places. One, either go for begging or go for the dustbin. So this is what has actually driven the child there. Then after getting to know about this, I went forward and then found out, made further more research, and found out that nearly about 7,000 children are dying every day in India only out of hunger. That is where I started thinking that I should do something in this particular, disease, hunger disease. Can I contribute something in this project where I can reduce or minimize the number of deaths which are taking place? As against 7,000 children dying every day, can I bring it to something like about 6,000? Can I bring it something like 5,000? It's an everyday affair, right? So can I do something like that? That's how we started this No Hungry Child program. And initially I started doing it with, my own funds and all that. And then later on, I used all the fundraising models that I had, and then people started giving me funds. When I started feeding 10 children, I got money for 100 children. When I started feeding for 100 children, I got money for 1,000 children to feed 1,000 children. When I started doing for 1,000 children, I started getting for 10,000 children, right? That's where it stands. Now my mission is to see whether I can feed 1 lakh children every day. If it is possible, I will do that. And that is why, I am seeking the help of these 10,000 NGOs to come forward, associate with me. I will make them self-sustainable first for their own programs. Then I will invite them to come forward and then help in my vision of ensuring that no child should go to bed hungry. So
God
that's how
bless
this
you
was born.
with this wonderful thought. And to everybody, let no child sleep hungry. There are so many children and there are so many people who have not been able to get social justice. It is our responsibility to share our thoughts, whether it is noble in cash and in kind, to help each other to make this world a better place. I thank you so much, Mr. Sridhar, for being with us on this forum. And God bless every NGO to join you. Let's give India 10,000 NGOs to raise fund. It was a fantastic moment to understand how fundraising is so easy, just like learning A, B, and C. Mr. Sridhar sir, you have made it really very easy. I do hope more NGOs join you in your programs on Thursdays, and let's give the world a better chance to make a difference. Thank you so
Thank you so
much,
much.
sir.
Thank you.